everybody to Astro Monday. We are going to get going with Christopher Witeckis, pulling him up live. Until then, let us know what is been going on with your week. What's the energy? How did it go last week? Every single week we are here and we go over the weather report, the astrological weather report. So just from your local news station, we also have astrological weather, which is based on the planets, the asteroids, the sun, and how those energies are making its way down and around and through us and our reality. Oh, yes, the volume is completely off because I forgot to put these in. Hold on one second. All right, so I'm waiting for Chris to get on here. I would have noticed that that intro hopefully was good enough. Hopefully you guys did hear a little bit of that. Where's Chris at? It's Monday, right? At noon? Yes. Invite. He's here. Christopher Witeckis is unable to join, it says. Go live. Had a hell of a day yesterday. Awful. Says somebody.
Hey, buddy.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Good. Good. Still in California. You are.
Me? Yes,
Yeah.
I am in California. And I think, by the way, I think for going forward, I'll always be coming on like 5 minutes into the show.
So what I do is I just talk to myself for like 5 minutes and then I sign off. And then
No. Oh, you do? You sign off? No, I think it's just like I've been watching this now for a while. There's some sort of vortex right before noon. I'm not kidding. My papers are blowing away. Where I simply, just simply that can't happen. But I'm also in my old meetings at work. I've said I always come in 5 minutes into the meeting, and I think it's good actually for our colleagues because before we start leading the meeting, it's good to hang out and get bond and how are you guys because we're a virtual company and so it's like we don't have a water cooler time, so it's like it works out for everything. Because for some reason, as a wizard, I always have something come up right before like 5 minutes before something's due. I don't know why. I don't know where it's built me. It's built somewhere, and I can't say no to it always. And I don't want everyone to be disappointed all the time, so I'm changing the rules to suit my bad habit.
All right. 12:05.
Yeah, and everyone. So, but I feel like from a TV perspective, it's better too because you want a host to come on and create space, and then invite a guest on. So it all makes sense that too. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm a guest. This is Human Garage.
Yeah.
Production. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
I didn't really hear a lot of that because you broke up. Is there?
Yeah, we should be okay. Let's see here.
All right.
Is it still breaking up?
I mean, you're good now.
Okay. I know I'm good.
All right. So if you guys aren't familiar, this is Astro Monday. We're here. We're blessed to have Christopher Witeckis here to talk about the astrological weather report for the week.
Yes, totally. And which we will have. Did we say we'll have at the conclusion of the show?
Yeah.
At the conclusion now.
That's going to happen.
Oops, yeah, it'll break up for me too. So, yeah, so at the conclusion, we're doing it just because, you will get it. But I think there's things to talk about that are important too that lead up to it. Like I think if you understand the themes of what's going on in a generalist perspective, then you'll really be able to, at the end, for the next 7 days, like make a plan.
Right.
Right.
See,
Knowing everything you know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually good for us to know that because that just naturally happened all the time for the last few months that we've been doing this, that it was always general stuff. And then it was like the week was the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah. And important, very important, but not the gist of what we're saying. It's the underlying it's the underlying strategy you'll have to adhere to.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm super philosophical right now because we're about to do Unite the Light this week on Saturday. And, I'm going over my, basically my intention speech, what I call a key intention speech now, where we're like talking about the key intentions for light workers for the next year. And so I'm thinking about how I think. I'm thinking about how I process. I'm processing how I process. Like it's definitely quantum processing. And so my mind is
Yeah,
just like all these places right now.
just since we have you live here, what are the so what Chris is talking about is he's got this event that's huge that he does once a year called Unite the Light. You can find tickets at unitethelight.love. But what I'm concerned with is how does somebody like you prepare like leading up? So that's happening in less than 5 days. What are you doing this week leading up to a humongous event like that?
On the physical level, returning to proper sleep no matter what. So going to bed when I'm tired at night and starting over. So getting my circadian rhythm restored and rebalanced because I've definitely cheated there. I will go on a cleanse starting today. I transition
Mm,
today with just fruits and vegetables, and I'll be on a full cleanse when I arrive. So I'm just like bright and clean and clear. That's like physical setup. And then when I wake up in the morning is my wizarding hour. So, I always channel everything, everything. I don't think about anything. I just channel. I mean, but I need time and space to channel. And it feels like brainstorming, but it's not. It's channeling, where it's just like. So as far as my speech, well, I waited till now to channel it. I'm just now channeling the actual speech, and I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. Wow, that's like I'm enjoying it because the first time I heard it, what they wrote up there. I can always feel these things coming. Like I feel these creations in my being, gurgling. But I look probably very bad in the sense that I, basically do it the last minute. But that's
right.
because I'm a channel. So doing it early is beneficial, sure. But a lot of times enough questions haven't been answered to determine the final product. So there's also a journey of me understanding as a leader. So I had to understand this before I made this the policy, kind of
Thank
thing.
you
Or
for
fish.
saying that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because we're led, especially in the self development community, that we should be prepared. And for me, and that we're my entire life, I've designed speeches and talks. And even when I owned gyms, I had to design workouts for the next day. And it was always last minute. Like within 24 hours of everything that I've ever done in my life has always come together last minute. And for some reason, it just feels like that's when I work the best. And that's what feels the most true to me. And so I just quit fighting it. But there's always this voice in the back of my head saying, like, you could be doing better. You could have had this prepared a long time ago. Why didn't, like, and I just learned to suppress that or negotiate with that voice. But it's also good to hear you talk about another reason why, because you're saying, like, we're channeling that and we're channeling it with the energy of the day. So why not wait for the day for that to come through?
Yeah, and what happens, I find, well said, and you're right, and that voice does talk to us. And some of that voice is dark spells, like intentions set to control you, not to bring the best out of you, right? So you were told, like my famous example with dark spell is a 5-year business plan. That's a dark fucking spell. I mean, I'm going to sit here in complete ignorance of owning the company and come up with the first 5 years plan, and then make my company stick to it. What the fuck?
Right.
Really? Like my most ignorant point. I come up with a plan for the next 5 years. Well, no wonder they're all fucking failing. No wonder they're all failing. Like what the fuck? Like, oh, well, you're not educated business. Actually, educated business actually tells you to make the plan. They don't tell you what to put in it ever. They don't tell you how to make the plan to win. They just tell you make a plan. You're on your own, kid. Like we don't want to interfere with your creativity. They'll give some strategies, but no one gives the actual play-by-play of what to do of how to get the best. They don't give away those secrets. They really don't. It's a control thing. So I don't know. It's like, is that voice criticizing us? Did that come from a good intention in the first place? I don't know.
Right.
But here's the truth of the metaphysics: is that people. I had remember a reading customer not so long ago where she's like, "Well, I know you've been preparing for my reading." I'm like, "No, I haven't." She's like, "You haven't?" No, I've taken no notes. In fact, it's the first time I'm looking at your chart. What? She was shocked. I'm like, "I'm sorry. You don't get the time you pay for. My brain's got shit to process.
Yeah.
My brain's got shit to process other times. I set aside this time to channel you for a full hour. That's a lot. That's a super spiritual computer dedicated to you right now, right? Like, but the truth of the matter is, if I channeled early, what am I fucking take notes and then read my notes? Like, what
Right.
am I going to do? What benefit? Because I'll channel it then too. So to prepare for it, I'm going to channel it, which means I'm going to give the reading twice, which then I'm going to create this fear of like being up to my first channel. Ugh, what a waste of time. Like, it's just like, no, I get the channel and then it just goes, takes off, and it's what it needs to be. And some things maybe have changed. That's the thing. Once you get to the day, that's what the step system teaches us. You can think about it all you want, but until you get to the actual step day, you're wasting time. You're working against the universe. It's
Right.
you against it's you against the universe. The universe is at this step. You want to be at that step? Go ahead. Be any step you want. But this is where we all are. Says God, Sun, the solar system, everything is like in place. Bodies that are so much bigger than you can possibly compete with their force. Like why would us? Why would we? It's arrogant to think we can't. We have to, and this is part of my intention speech, is like we've got to dance together. We got to dance together on the dance floor. So if you want to just,
Improvise.
well, it's one with the music, it's one with the vibe.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it's playing in your
Presence.
heart. And it's not trying to. It's collectively dancing together. It's not starting your own thing. You
Ah,
know,
yeah.
it's not.
Join in the flow.
Yes, I mean you can do your own melody in the flow. You can go off on a fucking solo. That's just badass. Like there's so much expression in the flow for individuality that for you to go, nope, it's my fucking concert. It's like, well, shit. Like like that division is what's dying in our consciousness. We're not going to have it anymore. Not recently. I mean, not soon. I mean, who knows how long it takes? You know, I
We're
might be talking about, we're in 2000. We're in the early 2000s. It's like it may take till 2190 before we actually dance together. I don't know.
That's 2190. That's a long time. I had to
Yeah,
process that for a second.
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
was dealing with that this morning. Somebody, because we host a Zoom and there's like 100 people, and it's like a collaborative event between a whole bunch of other people's businesses, and then somebody's saying like, "Well, you get all the email addresses from the Zoom." It's like I didn't even know you could collect email addresses from Zooms, but it's like you can host your own Zoom, but we're doing this for you and everybody else, and it's cool because we're doing it together. So yeah, I was just dealing with like I want to do it on my own way, but I'm like, yeah, but there's already a lot of energy the way we're doing it now. Anyways,
right,
there's
right.
that's just been coming up, like the choice to do it on your own or join like a bigger collective group, which is more powerful.
Yes, I think you need to know what you contribute before you join the collective. Like, I think what voice do I bring? What difference am I? Like, we want to. This is the age of Aquarius, which is the age of individuality. In heaven, you are applauded more for being unique and weird than you are being common in anything. Like, the whole point was to separate from the collective. As the whole point is
Yeah,
reality. We're all one inhale and one exhale in heaven. We're all one. We have no like sparklies and look at me and we can't show off. There's so much stuff we can't do. And so we come out here. The whole point is to be something fucking weird. That's the whole point. I think that's what gets God's
yeah.
interest more. I think that's what makes Creator go, oh,
But as
yeah,
you said, as a contribution to the whole, because
you
when we have that individuality, the whole point of it is that you're a part of a bigger mechanism. And for us to understand ourselves as that part and be that truly and authentically will add to the collective organism.
and the one. I mean, if you say I'm not God or part of you guys, you're Satan. You're like, that's it. Like that's what evil is. Evil is to say I'm not you, which is deny your creator. Denying your creator is denying God. So if we say I'm not you, we're basically saying I want to live in a world where God isn't ruling. Okay. He support that energy supports everything, the entire what you know is life. Like you are his great grandchild. So go ahead, leave the family. Go ahead, see how it pays off. See how much creative inspiration happens. See how much you can pull off on your own. See how much hard work you have to do to to separate yourself from the population and stay there, sustained with no source. So what happens? You start stealing sources, controlling sources. You start taking over energy supplies. You start hijacking and hacking the collective conscious as a parasite,
That's
as a
ah,
parasite,
so
as a
that's how
parasite.
that
happens
That makes
because
sense.
you've separated from source, so you don't get any. Okay, God's like, okay, then you don't get any. Right? You don't get any good ideas. You don't get any help. You don't get any Mother Earth. You don't get any manifestation shit. You can't co-create with us. You can't use the power of manifestation. You basically have opted out of everything you call life, and you're saying you're better. Okay, go ahead. God's like, go ahead. He's like, run, do it, my son. I tell or my daughter, I love you. Like, can't wait to see what you come up with. But I feel creators just like they'll eventually learn. That
Right.
that's not. I mean, but at the same time, it's constructive because to deny is to then highlight. Um, so it serves a purpose in the collective because it's like you need to see the alternative option, especially in a duality reality.
Yeah, but as you said, it always balances out no matter what.
Correct. Because the truth of the matter is, you are God. There's no way you're getting out of that. There's no way you're getting out of the fact that you are God. There's no way. There's no way.
All right, so we started this talking about you preparing for Unite the Light, and you gave us some amazing notes on how you're preparing. But let's just plug that since it's happening in a few days. For those that are interested, what is Unite the Light?
Okay, what is it? So I'm going to tell the story of Unite the Light, of how Unite the Light came to be, by the way. And I also should say you can watch it. You can buy a streaming ticket and you can watch it. And you can also donate soon. You can donate to us if you just think this is cool, and you can give $5. That would help because we do need collectively to raise the money. That's part of, I think, the task we've been put at. Like it has to be owned by the people. It can't be owned by me. I can't do it on my own. I shouldn't do it on my own. It's like that's wrong for what I've learned as a light worker. To give too much of myself. That's wrong. Other people criticizing but not paying. It's like it's a lot of things. So we do need your help. We want to put it out there. We need people's help. Like we are current. Last year we lost money, and this year we're set to lose more money. So yeah. Well, we add it on because it has its own growth rate.
Yeah, that's what it takes. But it's good to just let everyone know that too,
Yeah.
because it's not always that apparent.
No, Serious Joy's lost money because it's a principle that's just necessary. I mean, it's it's where it's example a lot of things. Mostly that corporations need to uh, invest in change. Like corporations need to invest in change. Here's the good news: we probably won't pay any taxes, company, because we lose so
Yeah.
much. We lose so much. So we lose so much. We don't gain. We're not based on gaining. But the plus side is we don't have we're not giving money to Uncle Sam that they haven't earned. Like that they deserve for a reason. So long story short, I'm telling the story of Serious Joy and how it gets together. And I can't remember your first original question. I think it was what is he one net light. So I tell the story, but ultimately, my I knew we had to come together at some point, like our industry, but I was sort of waiting to see who does it or where it goes, or if I was going to see like the light show. I mean, the light show that happens in California. I can't remember what it's called now. Every spring in February. Can't remember what it's called now, but I guess I'm not supposed to. But like
Conscious Light. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Conscious Life Expo. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Conscious Life. Yeah, and that actually is very good expo, by the way. I'm not putting any, I think it's wonderful. But what I mean is like where we would come together as an industry and trade secrets, trade, like, which are what trade shows are. Trade shows like when you come together and like, hey, we came up with this. Hey, we came up with that. Cool, cool. Like a trade show. It's like, so it's a kind of a trade show, but it's also, what we trade there is we show you some really cool ideas. So on the first day, we have a couple of really cool ideas you would have never thought of and you'll be blown away by presenters. So it's like, here's a couple of good ideas of like, as far as business and spirituality come together. But also it's become a summit. It's a summit where basically you're a light worker if you want to make the world a better place, first of all. And so it's like the people who want to make the world a better place need an event every year. And my joke is always like, dark people being on an island, fly their lures in every year and give money to an organization. They do all this dark shit and they all do it openly and because that's part of their religion. It's like to share all their plots and things, and so they share it all, they all celebrate on and then they all things to actually prevent people from wasting biology and wasting fuel and stuff like that, to prevent the people from it as they exploit it going in, right? Like, so I'm like, we need a counterbalance. Like the world needs an example of the opposite of that, which is what the dark does. It defines the light. So it's like, okay, we need to be everything they're not. Thanks for the roadmap. And therefore, but I wasn't expecting to do it so early. I was on a vacation in Mexico, and Spirit's like, no. And I was like, what? That's the story. It's like, what do you mean? We're not ready. It's got 4 months from now. There's no fucking way that can happen. They're like, no. It was like, so, the fact it's happening now before money, like my thought was like, when Serious Joy is doing better, but it was like, yeah, I guess you say you can manifest, let's see you do it. Kind of thing from heaven. Like it was kind of a test for me. So we went forward immediately because I feel, okay, let's go astrologically. Ship's about to hit the fan, yo. Ship's about to hit the fan. I mean, really hit the fan, okay? When we say hit the fan, we mean hit the fan because it fucking stinks in here. Turn on that fan, right? Like, because it's going to stink. I mean, and I just had a meeting with Wendy Kennedy, who is a channel for the Palladian race. And this was on Friday. And she was saying, I've been trying to call it so the Palladians call it a frequency war. We're going to have a frequency war. I didn't like the word war. I mean, I've been in so many past lives. It's like, really? Another war? That's my attitude. So I was spinning it as like a race. I'm like, it's not a war, it's a race. You probably heard me say this. It's a race. We're going to race to the end. When I talked to the Palladians on Friday, they're like, no, dear, it's a war. Like correcting me. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? They're like, oh, animosity, trying to kill people, things like that. It's like very like, oh shit. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay, wake up call. Like this is where I'm naive, where I'm like, trying to spread the light, but it's like you can't avoid the hazards, what's going on. So I'm more serious about it now. And I'm gonna put a video here soon to the public, which is like this. Look at my calculations. This is the only time we're gonna be able to really meet without a huge distraction. The only time. Is this now after June, man. Next year, Unite the Light will be responding to what's happening. And so this year's Unite the Light is like, yo, prepare. The reason why you're born is here now. And this is not a drill. This is not a drill. Like we need all light workers to their posts. Like it is now time. This is the call. This is the horn blowing. This is it. It's like Casey K said. This is the top 500. Whatever. But this is it. Yeah. Remember Casey?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yes, but the Gen Xers know.
Yeah. Hey,
Sure.
So I just want to clarify. This is for everyone, right? Like you're talking
event?
to everyone. Like, well, no,
well,
yes, the event. But I'm talking about like this war that you're talking about, this energy. This is going to be happening for us all, whether we come to Unite the Light or not. Like it's.
Yeah. No, it's not no, it's happening. And here's how I mean, first of all, I'm here to hold the tone of optimism during this time. I'm here to do. That's my assignment. It's one of my assignments. And so I always knew this. But I've now reached the total optimism point. Like I'm now ready for that task. And to get there, I had to ignore the dark completely. So I actually don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. Pay attention to it and give you no time or attention. And by that's the way to respond. I mean, the light workers must respond as if it doesn't exist. We must not give our light, one spark of our light, to that choice. Not one spark. Like we have to starve them to death. Remember, they have to parasite off of us. So we have to get rid of all parasites immediately, and just stop giving. Like if it doesn't return, it's a parasite. That's kind of it.
Right.
Like I'm sorry, and this is for me. Like I'm meeting the commandment, with the Earth and Scorpio, we're manifesting boundaries. So like I've dealt with a lot of parasites to have their attention in the time of feeding. Because I'm a creator. I can create unlimited energy. Unlimited. So I've let people parasite knowingly and fed them and like, while you're here at the bar, let me tell you a few things. And like inserted knowledge in that. So it's like in the moment they're taking advantage of me, who's really being taken advantage of? I'm not sure. But you have to listen to my story because I'm feeding it. You have no choice, right? So it's like, I don't know, it's a chess game. But now I'm being told, okay, none can feed, none. Like not one.
No more feeding.
No more feeding the parasites so you can learn to teach them. No.
Yeah.
No. Stop feeding the bears, Chris.
I mean, in a way, that's everyone, right? Like the energy we give to the TV, the energy that we give to, what they're telling us is important to pay attention to in sports, in celebrity news, in political fights, It's like we're all sort of feeding this mechanism collectively, and that's the reason why it exists.
We've all been feeding the whole time. We've been slaves the whole time. We've been, the Matrix told you you're the battery. Like it's everywhere. Someone's saying, okay, so someone's saying I need to call Unite the Light because I paid. If you have a Unite the Light issue, just email us at support.seriesstory.com and we'll take care of you. Support.seriesstory.com. We have a great support team. But yes, what were you saying? I thought lost thought.
That we've all, like, collectively, the parasite exists because we put our attention to it.
Totally, that's it exactly. That's the dirty secret. If you didn't feed them, they would just die.
Right, because we're the creators. So
We,
the
we,
billions and billions of us, that's where all the energy is. And if we
we-
can be influenced to give our energy in different directives, then the ones that can control just do that. They produce programming to direct our attention. And if we can get united and start directing our attention in places that are beneficial for us, then the whole system changes and we don't have to worry about destroying anything because it was always us to begin with.
Brilliantly said, man. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's basically the strategy of next year. I mean, one of the strategies is like, they say take back your power. That's what they mean. It's like, stop feeding. And you have to stop feeding in those small places and, with yourself. I mean, the most intimate part of this is that you yourself will be in a lone room with yourself and you'll be talking to yourself. Another part of yourself will sit there and parasite off you. Where what you do is you end up voicing that opinion inside you and taxing yourself in the idea and attacking the idea before it becomes real. That's where the thoughtware, virus thoughtware is. There's thoughtware. We have what I feel is thoughtware is our collective conscious thinking. Jupiter's in Gemini, so we're upgrading our thoughtware right now. And our thoughtware is released right after Unite the Light. So we've been working on our thoughtware, our collective thoughtware for a whole year. Every 12 years we do this thoughtware upgrade. And what's happened is our thoughtware has viruses in it. Viruses like you're born a sinner. That's a thoughtware virus. It's not true. Prove it. Right? Like we have a lot of thoughtware viruses. And what these viruses do is attack from the inside. Your own creative energy fuels their virus and keeps you down. That's what religion is. It's a virus software to control people.
Yeah,
And
that gets
feed off
uploaded.
them. Oh yeah. To the collective. Jesus was here. What he said was correct. And then he left. And they started rewriting shit, reorganizing shit. They started, they we talk about another time. It doesn't really matter to like identify a they, but there's a they. There is 100% acting days on the planet, who want to go off and start their own thing and not dance with us. Actually, they want to kill half of us, and then, you know, and then watch us dance. Like not even dance, like just make us dance like some sort of a slave dancer. So, I mean, that warped version of reality and God is a problem throughout the universe, and it's something heaven's very aware of, and actually, even heaven is like having to figure out the best ways to handle it, living within the context of their rules. So,
Hold
like,
on. Can you can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, what do you know about? Is there like a group of people that are beings that are addressing this? Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
yeah, it's come out in lots of like, lots of communications I've had with different sources and entities, like talking to Pleiadians about this, talking to angels about this in readings, where the company of heaven, which like it's called, the company, as in a corporate company, the company of heaven. Um, God intended to have free will, and it's funny they're saying that creation itself did not see evil coming.
Ah,
Creation did not see evil coming. Creation saw duality, but creation only created the first step, which is the world of creating, right? Once you give the power of God to the child of God, they don't know. It's a quantum thing of God. Like God's like, I'm going to give part of me, my power, and allow it to operate from through me and of me, but not me.
right.
That's powerful. So like I'm gonna give. So it's like a baby's born that is as powerful as God. Then a bunch of alien races come in and say, "You're a sinner." And this created baby believes it
Hmm.
because the baby is a child of God and of God, but not God. So It has its autonomy, and that's what life did. God took a part of him and said, and I think it was a he first. I mean, that's a whole other discussion we're going to talk. I do think the he came before the she. I do think so. It's not because he's more important. It's because his role is to hold space for the woman, to hold the door open for the woman. That's his role. Because a woman is a wombed man. You take a man, you add a wombed man. So it's like a wombed man is better than a man. It's the next thing after a man, which means there is a male god that creates a female god. Not because he's more important, but because his job is to hold back the bullshit and protect you.
The way I look at it is the male essence is what sets the pattern, and the female is what brings it into matter. It's like the womb
Yes.
creates it into actual physical matter. So we have the pattern of the papa and the matter of the mama.
Yes. And it's two forces, push and receive. They're both necessary for reality. They're both equally important. Just because one comes after another in time, right? Time
Right.
doesn't exist. So you think because
Right.
one comes after another in time, and somehow one's more important. No, they're both coming from the same source. In fact, if the woman comes second as there's a man that created Eve. Like spaces say the same thing. Male energy created female energy. Okay. That doesn't make the man more important. That was an asshole. Some asshole said that. That's not how God intended. I don't feel like, some asshole's like, well, that means the man's more important. Well, wait. This is the creation. So man creates something, he's more important than what he created. You're saying a man creates something, he's more important than what he created. How can that be? How can you be a person who's considered the options and then made something from those options of experience to be less important? That creation is less important when it's built on bigger wisdom. How can something built on bigger wisdom be less important? Right?
Yeah.
Wisdom is not the same as importance either. So it's funny
Right.
how these are all thought viruses. So, anyways, these are thought viruses. And so we're at a time now where the thought, basically, I don't know what makes it happen, but I know planetarily, we're forced to relive certain conscious moments. One is that, and I'm going to make a video that tells the world about this and why we need your donations. Because, right now we're replaying the moment of the American Revolution with Pluto and Aquarius, the actual war, the actual conflict. And war is when the ego sets up, the ego decides something, and the ego decides that decision an ultimatum. That ultimatum is, it will be this or I will die. That's what a war is. So one, the ego is, this will be or I will die for it. I will give up my life. Now that's, of course, an evil thing to do. To threaten the collective and then suicide yourself out of the collective if you don't get what you want. That's a childish ego thing. War is like totally childish. Like, you fucking idiot. You don't even know how God works, clearly, right? So it's a fucking idiot thing, and they deserve that term, okay? But it doesn't matter. It's not out of our system. All right. So we have to revisit the American Revolution. Then Neptune just moved into Aries, and that is the American Civil War. And so that is also happening simultaneously in the sense that we're reliving the spiritual, we're reliving the karmic echo of ascension in the American Revolution. So this is the first time it's come back. The first time we revisit the American Revolution when it comes to control. First time we visited the Civil War in terms of ego versus God. And then the other one is Uranus and Taurus. The first time we revisit innovation and what we manifest versus don't manifest. Do we manifest it for good or for evil? And the question of, should we manifest for good or evil? Because when Uranus is
When
in
did that
Taurus,
happen before? Was there an event that matched up with that?
the bomb, World War II.
Ah.
So World War II was when we decided to use technology to kill on a mass scale. We did it first with Hitler creating factories of death, but the United States did just as bad by creating a weapon that would destroy the earth. We're just as bad. I'm sorry, guys, we are. We are. Like everyone was. It was a question that's being worked out by mankind. And at the time, the question was, well, it's okay to kill millions if you're going to stop people who kill billions. That's basically it. We're saying, if we'd have lost billions if it wasn't for this bomb that could kill millions. So that was the equation that allowed for it, right?
Because as you're saying that, I'm also thinking that other things came from that. Our modern day school system, which is the programming for everything that we're talking about, came out of that. The Germans wanted to develop something to produce soldiers that were capable and listen to orders, and then America bought, and they actually looked at what we were doing with our, blacks only, like the segregation. They borrowed from that, developed the modern day school system there, and then also like the Jewish thing was borrowed from America, segregating blacks, and then America then borrowed the school system, because it's all just like this cycle of like, oh, you developed something to suppress the people and utilize the creation powers. I'm going to use that to suppress my people. And then also agriculture came out of the gas chambers in Germany. They had all this chemical and they needed to know what to do with it. And then they were like, well, let's use it as fertilizer and also like killing insects, pesticides. And so these systems have
Actually,
been,
I think actually extermination from a slower cycle. I think it was actually an extermination at a slower cycle, not because we care
right,
about bugs.
right. So that's what I mean. It's like, it's the system got set in motion around the same time.
Uranus and
And
Taurus.
I'm just wondering, like, okay, so if it's happening again, what does that mean? Does it close the
AI,
cycle? Does it start a
AI,
new
AI,
cycle?
AI, 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 AI. It's AI. Now we have a tool that will reprogram you. It's here. The threat is
Yeah.
here. It's what this threat, according to Pleiades, it's a frequency war, which means there's a frequency of get high off of death. Not kidding. They get their high off it. Or a frequency of live greater because of God, because of creation, because of love, because of who we are. Live greater. Should we live greater, or should we auto fixate as we masturbate? Should we auto fixate as we masturbate, or should we make love?
Which is the thing.
Yes. I mean,
Exactly.
you know, that's it. I mean, that's an
Lots of,
example. Should we kill off life and go through the whole experience of seeing the tunnel before we orgasm, or should we let life thrive and just run amok in Garden of Eden like love bacon? Simple. I think the choice is simple. Like but I'm sure I've been in those dark choices. I tried all that. I think everyone tries all the dark one lifetime or another. You certainly aren't going to be a leader of light if you haven't gone in the dark, got stuck there, and pulled yourself out.
yeah, you have to know the
God,
lesson.
God won't like put you on the team unless you fall in the dark, pray for his help or whatever, and get out of it. Like because you're no use to humankind if you can't do that. If you don't know what it's like to be addicted and unaddict, you don't know.
Right.
An addict is much more. I would trust an addict over someone who's never fallen to it.
They understand the consequences.
And getting out of it and managing themselves and recovering in the holy space of themselves. I mean, it's like complex. If you've done nothing wrong and have nothing in your track record, never been had blip of stuff, I don't trust you. Sorry. You just don't have the experience to handle what we're up against. You know what I mean? You just don't, kind of thing. So it's fascinating. So my point is, I want to get to everyone's 5-day week cast, like forecast too, make sure everyone gets what we promised them. But, the Unite the Light is important because we have to come together and network. So imagine this. If we all could have come together, all of us who call ourselves friends, who watch this show and your show and Gary, this overlap of the collective conscious that we are of the social media, if we all had met before COVID, what a difference would that make? Will we ask each other if we should stand 6 feet apart, or will we rely on outside to tell us? Would we ask each other if this should happen? We're talking about all the psychics on the planet. Should all the psychics on the planet maybe consider what it may be before we're told what it is? I think so. Like we have to now. The truth is that the solution is us.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wake up. It's true. In your heart it's true. You have the solution to something, and so now it's time to do it. Like if you know your solution, then the world needs it now, right? So if that's the case, where are we going to talk? Where are we going to organize? Unite the Light. Every year we'll come together and we'll talk. I think that's ultimately it. That's the vision. And then also there's a lot of other cool things that are super entertaining. And I don't know if I should say it now. Spirit's saying not yet. So there's one huge announcement. Huge. I mean, as far as us, what we're doing. One huge component of the show I've kept a complete surprise the whole time. Nobody knows about it except our staff and team. So we got something really cool to announce this year, which is cool and true. But that's all I'll say. Little teaser. Yeah, and then also I think, if you watch with us, just like right now, you guys feel united right now, everyone chatting, everyone watching, you feel each other, you feel us here as a group. You feel us here in this moment every week with Ra. You feel us, I feel you feel me. And that's when you're not watching, you feel different, right? So you can tell there's a difference and we're connected at the same moment of space time. We're thinking about each other at the same moment of space time. There's a connection here. This isn't imagination. Technology is serving as the backbone, that's all. And so, you want to connect with us when we all connect, like you feel here. The difference of a live with Ra and I and a pre-recorded is so different.
Hmm.
And I don't have words to describe it very much right now, but it's basically we come of one heart, one mind. And that's something you can do when two or more gather in my name. That's something you can do. It's a whole realm you can go into that they do underground in the Masons every day, for dark purpose. So we can, for light purpose, those who it was created for, these tools that they're using, these are our tools that were
Right.
stolen. These
Right.
are all our tools. The third eye is our tool. It's not an evil thing. It's the eye of God, for Christ's sakes. And they're calling it an evil eye. It's like, what? That's
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
evil
Yeah.
eye. That's not really what they're telling you. Like, yes, it's the one. The one is God. But no, I deny that. It's the evil eye. It's just everything's been twisted over the years. So let's talk about our forecast for today, because we're gonna live by this forecast. When I say that, I mean we're kind of implementing. Serious Joy plays the steps. We plan our company to the steps. We plan the light work. This unite the light by the steps, because they are what is, right. So we went to master level manifestation last Saturday. So Saturday, step 20 ruled the day, and step 20 is that you have to hold space now for the plural, which means you have to be operating completely from the we go, which is, if I do it, I affect everyone. Every choice you make includes the idea that you're going to affect everyone. Everything you do includes you. So you have to take your personal desires and the world's at the same time into consideration. You have to both get to have what they want, both. So you have to come from this plural. And the way you monitor both is you feel it, you don't think about it. You feel it. So the 20s mastery is all about coming from a feeling place, which brings everyone in, everything in. Everything is considered creation when you feel it, right? Your mind only can pick around piece or piece. So on Saturday, we started to feel the master level of Taurus, the master level of Taurus, Taurus being what we call I manifest, but we're going to actually start calling it I materialize instead. I think I'm updating some of my terms because now that I'm here, I realize other things. And so manifestation is not actually the creation of it, which is always what bugged me. How can you be outside the now to create something in the future? You can't be outside the now. So, anyways, I materialize is different than I manifest because I am right now materializing it. But so we start to materialize, which is what Taurus is, materialize the future. Saturday we started to, and yet Saturday you create the emotional tone, the tone of your Disneyland. Okay, so the tone of your Disneyland, the tone of your theme park that you're building. And yes, we're building a theme park that's full of fun and laughter and adventure. That's what they're supposed to be. So we're building our new theme park. And so what's the tone? And what's the emotional tone? And Disney said it, the happiest place on earth. That's the tone.
Hmm.
He's a master wizard, okay? Whether or not he fucked around, I don't know. But he's a master wizard. No question. So we hold the emotional space. That's why when Mercury goes into Taurus, so we start materializing. First thing is like emotional security. And then on Sunday, we then in that emotional space, we add love, which we added like, okay, what's my heart want? In this theme park, I'm manifesting. What's my heart want? With Sunday, and that materializes as what should I do? What should I do? Right? Like, what should I do? That's the question. What should I do? We're changing our language now to be what what could I do? One thing that I'll talk about at the conference is let's use could instead of should in our spell making. Like no more spells with should, because should creates judgment.
Right.
And could create unlimited opportunities. So this is where we've been hijacked in our thoughtware right there. To say you should is a thoughtware hijack that closes down options from your
Yeah.
imagination of your opponents. Very
I
brilliant
mean,
spell.
yeah. I pretty much concur with you. You said that when you eject, that's evil, and I say that saying should or should not is the closest thing that I can consider sinning. Is
Mm.
like when you start using language like that, when you're saying something shouldn't be that obviously is, like you're ejecting yourself from the system.
My friend Julie Day always said, "Don't shit all over yourself."
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know where it came from, but she's the one that told me. It's like, yeah,
Right.
you are shitting all over yourself.
Everyone knows what that means too.
You
Just
throw shit
hits
all over
you.
yourself. Yes, you know inherently what that is. It should leads to shaming, leads to a lot of shit, like holy shit, like shaming shit. Don't shit over yourself. It's
Sinning.
in a lot of sounds, spinning, yeah. Signal. for this crowd. Shooting all over yourself leads to shingles. It does. They're both starts.
Shingles.
Yeah. Why do you get shingles? I shoot all over myself. That's why. My body was erupting with anger of all these things that are supposed to be that I don't want to
Right.
be. So it's interesting how that happens. So we could ourselves, we start to could, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do that. Could, like,
Possibility.
could is Christ, I could, Christ, creation,
Right.
could, Christopher, could, right? Could. So there's the k sound is a creation sound, and that k is the sound of the two, the X of the earth, like, yeah, k to me is the plus coming together, yeah,
Impact.
which is
Kundalini.
materialization happens from k, right? And Christ and all these other things and crispy. So Sunday we open our hearts. Now today's a doozy of a day. So I'm glad we got to it in the last 8 minutes because today is step 22 where you could do this and you could do that, but each feel a certain way. So you could do this and you could do that. And so everyone has a could this, a could that. And the question is, which one do I belong with? And these are coulds where they're so high up in the could, they almost deny the other could existing. It's like, it's such a huge change. The other could will not be able to exist, most likely, as far as the fork in the road, right? So it's like, so you have to choose one. That's how God forces change. Yeah, two choices.
Yeah.
And
I
for
mean,
everyone, it comes down. It's like, do I send my daughter to school or do I homeschool her? Like, you could do this, you could do that. Which, how does that one feel versus how that one feels? There's not hope. It's either homeschool or it's to school. There's no alternative. You know what that is? Because you have two agendas going on there of opposite direction. That's why they're separate. They're separate because someone separated themselves from the collective and said, we should do this one. They didn't say could, they said should.
mm-hmm.
And so as a result, we feel bad if we don't
Right.
listen to them.
It's like shame, guilt.
Yeah, I feel bad. If you feel bad, I would take that off the could list. If you feel bad, take it off the could list. If the option makes you feel bad, take it off the could list.
Yeah,
If
because
any,
there's coulds and then there's shoulds in the choices. It's like, well, I could do this, I could do that. And then there's this like, well, it's like you said, it's a thought-aware virus. It's like, but you should do this. It's like this magnet that's pulling you.
so true, yeah. And you feel it, you're like, oh.
Right. Yeah, it brings you down.
Yeah. Doesn't inspire. Does it make you laugh? Doesn't like bring out any fun? Like you're like, oh fuck.
Right.
It's like I've been slaved again. Yeah, that's where they got you. And so it's like, so if you feel bad about it, I would say if I feel bad about any of it, most likely no. Because I know the right choice will feel. I don't feel anything wrong with it. That's the right choice. I don't feel anything wrong with it is a right choice. Just because you don't know the outcome, again, a 5-year plan's evil. How can you know the outcome of creation if creation happens in the moment? How can you fucking know the outcome? How? Tell me, Dark. Right? You cannot cast the outcome. You don't focus on what it becomes. You focus on what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And then what becomes is there's a space held for what it becomes, giving the freedom of co-creation to create. So if you say, don't my way or the highway, separate from them, this is the plan. I don't care what the signs are. I don't care what the banks say. This is the 5-year plan. This is what we're doing. We're going to just nail my feeling of this moment into the future and force this moment in the future, which is basically, hijacking the timeline. So saying, I'm going to hijack this timeline. Whatever I want here is going to be what I control there. It's like, wait a second. That means that there's no creation between now and then? Ooh, that's dark. It's dark.
Yeah, and I forget the word you used, the exact word, but it was basically like you're less experienced then. Like if you're making a plan in the past, you're completely not experienced with the now. And then you're trusting this person, whether it's you or somebody else of the past who has no reference of what's going on now.
Yeah, which is the problem with AI. AI is based on the past. That's how it got so intelligent, quote, quote.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how the fuck could you be more intelligent than me if you're only me yesterday?
It's us yesterday. Yeah, but yeah.
Us yesterday, right. Yeah. It's us yesterday informing the future. That sounds dark because all we've done is fuck up. So you're telling me that somebody came around the computer and analyzed all the times we fucked up and it's running the show because you assume it'll somehow know greater than its own data. That sounds like a spiritual thing to upgrade your own data,
Yeah.
right? So that's not true. It's not possible. It's fascinating algorithms. This is where our thought is being hijacked. So today you have to feel with which one you could, you just, which one you could, and therefore you should. I mean, you take should in yourself, but the one that feels best is the way to go with, and say to the world, my heart belongs feeling this way. My heart doesn't belong feeling that way. Sometimes you have a hybrid, but that would be a mistake at this time.
So
That will not
today
work.
is about choosing the coulds.
Choosing the wood, wood. It's now wood. Once you decide it's a wood, not a could. It's a will, not a possibility. So here's the wood, which is what makes up the structure of everything, right? Our trees. So choose the wood to of the coulds and build it as solid. So in your mind, as the structure of your new home. And you can always go back in history to something that didn't work, and you can always pull up an old idea. Just look at your own life. How many times you try something really cool and new, and how many times you do the same old shit? So just add it up, and if you've done mostly the same old shit, you better try something new. You better try something new. Most likely, everyone will try something new in this could moment. Most likely, what you could do and what you would do is what's new. In what we call the new, by the way, and that's what we're calling Gemini is the new new. New is NEW, KNEW. The new is that in the new, it's what I always knew. The new is
Right.
what I always knew.
Yeah.
That is the assimilation of our wisdom. The new is what I always knew, thus I am wise. And to eliminate the guessing of what we know.
We now know what we always knew.
Correct. That's an anti-spell.
Just somehow.
That's an
Yeah.
anecdote. That's an anecdote to a thoughtware problem. It's a thoughtware, it's an antivirus to a thoughtware problem. That we've been missed, we've been told to look in the future or we're going to have the worst now. And the truth is, if you look in the now, if you look in the past, what you've always known, you'll know exactly where to be now. So we're being guided in the future, fear of a future away from our power, which is the now, and then ignoring the past. It's just like, these are wizard spells, but we're breaking out of them. And then on Tuesday, it's like a 22-23 hybrid day, where on Tuesday, after this split on today, there's a full moon of Scorpio that already apex today. The full moon of Scorpio has said over the last hour and a half, these two can't coexist. These two can't. No. You guys are gonna have to separate. Like you have to choose one. So the moon of Scorpio is like, we can only go with one of these coulds because we're changing. We can only go with one of these coulds. So choose which could you'll go with. So basically, people are. And what happens is, I'll tell you even more dynamically, is because you have surrendered to the thoughtware as true, you don't know what you have limited yourself from. So you don't know options you didn't know because you decided to, you decided for new no instead of knowing what you knew. You know what I mean? Like, so basically, because you're sort of living this convoluted perspective, you didn't realize you had options. So the consequence of choosing the right could is that you will see something you have never seen before as an opportunity. It was hidden
Okay.
from you. It was hidden from you until you
Like
made the right choice.
You come around the corner. So Monday is choosing a could, and then Tuesday is like that reveal. It's a revelation day.
What I didn't know, I know.
Okay.
I know now what I never knew.
All right.
Which
Exciting.
is, I think
Tomorrow.
so. In the
Yeah.
consciousness of I materialize. So it's all going to materialize. This
All
will
right.
all automatically 100% materialize. I promise you, as a leader, it will materialize what you conclude. It will materialize. It will be your world. You're building your new world, your new reality. So Wednesday, step 23 rules that day. So step 23 almost rules Tuesday and rules most of Thursday, Wednesday. And Thursday is step 24, which is we're calling partly cloud, partly sunny and imaginative on that day. Meanwhile, the moon's in Sag for all this. So the moon is feeling our whole story, feeling our whole soulography. We're feeling all of our timelines on Earth. It's like we're emotionally kind of like going down to like a music sequence in a film. And we're just sort of like, playing our whole life back for ourselves as we play through different feelings and relive different feelings in our life. And so it's like it's a music sequence in a film. We're just like, you're just seeing shots of lifetimes and shots of things because you're putting it all together now. You're starting to realize what you know, what you've always known, but you didn't say. the quiet part out loud, basically to yourself. And then what happens on Thursday is it's like time to drink the Kool-Aid or not. Like, you have to devote to this. Next step is I have to devote. If this is going to be the case, this is the way I'm going to process my materialization. I have to devote to this, because if I don't devote, step 8, it won't happen either. You have to devote. That's what steps teach us. So what happens is 2024 is us feeling out, like, do I feel I belong there? Like, you replaying this, what you want to create and what it's going to feel like, and seeing if it feels comfortable, doesn't feel right, if it feels like Goldilocks, just right. And then on Friday, you connect to spirit. You're like, God, is this true? Like, you have to call in your guides and your team and make sure they're on board with this, if you're an enlightened being. And then Unite the Light 26, we devote. And then Unite the Light 27, we make it so. We call into resolution these changes. So this is us aligning Unite the Light with the steps perfectly to have a collective influence on what materializes. Right? This is our wizarding. This is us, stepping into ascended master like test roles, where human consciousness is aware that it controls human consciousness, and it very fairly talks about what it ought to be. And that's what the Congress of Light is. So we're launching the Congress of Light Saturday night, which is a Congress of Light, which means we're creating a voting system. We're creating the whole thing. It's also a mock Congress in the sense that it's a way of testing the way Congress ought to be. And so it's a way of sort of like publicly doing a mock Congress where you can see the way we feel it ought to be, and maybe that doesn't work, so we pull back and change it. So it's sort of like a test. It's like a test environment for the next constitutional convention, which will happen in our lifetime. So we're starting to play those out. This is where Unite the Light is going to be influenced. We're going to be an influence in saying, hey, we all come together. We care about the earth. We feel we ought to do this. We feel we ought to do that. As we vote, how to actually implement ascension. Who's going to plan the implementation of ascension? Who's going to do that? You think it's going to just happen organically? Do you think that we randomly evolved from an amoeba to a human? No, we did not. We were created by a smarter version than who we are. And so creation means you have to create stuff. Nothing happens randomly without God and the intentions of God. Nothing. Not one thing. We're in the mind of God. How will ever run free of God's intentions? The science doesn't play that out. So anyways, Unite the Light is about an event, a festival, a celebration of a light. We're celebrating how great we are. We're applauding people who've done amazing feats. We're meeting each other. We're getting to compare notes. You'll find some other things we'll do. And we also have a summit where we have an annual meeting with our Congress of Light. And our Congress of Light discusses things that are important. And that's not broadcast. You have to be in the Congress to see it. You can be in the Congress by joining the Board of Light. It's $250 a year to have a vote. So very fair. And your voice is heard. And then if you want to be a congressman or basically if you want to be a senator or a representative, in our Congress, representation represents a individual, a business, or an idea. And a senator represents a group of people. So there's different states that we're managing.
Got it. Yeah.
That's just teasing you guys of how deep this is going to be.
Right.
And how we have to really design the new world. It's our design.
Yeah, I mean, you're going from having a conference every year, which is what you were doing last year, to now you're actually like developing a Congress that's taking responsibility for, as you just said, ascension. It's like,
yes, that's the first 10-year thing. The first decade is we have to plan ascension, right? That's we do.
Well, yeah. I guess you make a point. Someone has to.
The way power is taken is that the people who take it, no one else wanted it.
Right.
That's how they got power. No one else wanted it. And, my power structure is to re-empower the individual. I mean, I'll talk about it later. I mean, we're already over time, but it's like, I think leaders, I have believe in reverse pyramid. So reverse pyramid is the way we ought to structure. The most elite and the smallest amount support everyone. And as you go up, the general population is the wide base. So this is a pyramid that's sitting on its tip. That's how we should manage the world. The smallest should support all. Not all support the smallest. It's upside down.
So the widest part reaps the benefit of people that are shaping it.
The wisest people and the ones in power serve everyone else.
Yeah.
The ones in power serve the ones who are not in power. That's your customer. Your customer
Right.
is, it's to serve. I mean, I guess the upside down is it's to serve, not draw from,
Right.
not
Yeah.
parasite. It's to give, not receive.
Right.
That upside down pyramid is how we're going to manage all of our values going forward, because that's how I think it is spiritually. God is the one who supports all of his children.
It's like the bottom line isn't about how much do I get from the organization. The bottom line is how much are we able to serve those that we are responsible for.
Ask what you can do for your country and not what your country can do for you.
Yeah.
A brilliant light worker said that.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
All right. So that was all week. We got to it.
Yes, we got to every piece of it. And just to be clear, you devote yourself to the correct could on Saturday.
Can we do like a 1 minute rundown of the whole week?
Let's
Yeah.
do it, because that'll keep you guys from having to edit it.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, last Saturday, just to set us up, last Saturday, you started a whole emotional space for the future. On Sunday, you open up to a couple of coulds, things you could do, all the things you could do. Today, Monday, with the full moon, you decide one could over another. So you choose the premier could. On Tuesday, you understand, that's another word, inner versus under. You understand why that's the could you choose. So you understand why, not under. Don't put yourself under someone else. You understand it. The power is inner, it's not under someone.
Right.
So Wednesday, you understand. Thursday, you counsel with your feelings to see if they agree. So, understanding is a mental thought, but you have to see if your emotions are on board, because your emotions feel everything. The mind only focuses on specific things. So the mind is absent of most of the evidence. And so you have to check the rest of the evidence, which is your feelings. So meditate with your feelings and figure out which could you feel most attracted to. You feel most attracted to, and then then you turn around and you become mindful of what you're. So once you choose which one your emotions want, then your mind on Friday is mindful of those feelings that it wants, and once you're mindful of those feelings you want, you will receive additional guidance from God. So the question is, why do I feel this way, God? Well, let me tell you. So God will come in. And then on Saturday, we devote to where we feel our heart open up to. My heart opens up to this. That means your inner, yes, to devote, to devote, right? To devote ourselves, to unvote from the bad votes and vote with the good, right? There's a lot of magic in spelling and words and everything. So we devote ourselves, which is to unvote the others we used to choose, and choose inside our heart. So we devote our heart to that direction. And, if your heart lights up, you're excited, you're moving sense of space-time, your heart likes it. If you don't feel your heart open up, like, oh, that's cool, that'll be fun. If you feel your inner child, get on board and relax. Wrong devotion. Wrong. Okay? Wrong for you. Maybe not someone else, but for you, it's wrong. So after we devote, okay, I'm devoted to this. I'm devoted to this feeling, so I'm devoted to. This feeling I have in my heart, that's what I'm devoted to. I'm devoted to that. Give me one of that. I'll go anywhere that is, right? And then Sunday, when the sun crosses Uranus, no shit, that's like powerful in a sense. That's already powerful. I mean, we can't even go into that today. But that's like, basically when the sun crosses Uranus, like a weird antenna, makes the wave so. The wave maker says, and so it fucking is, right? Sends out a vibrational pulse in all dimensions. And so all dimensions are given this pulse. And if your pulse is contrary to the pulse, it's going to be uncomfortable and things will break down. If your pulse is identical to or within the same wave signature of the pulse, then you will be lifted. If yours is not, you'll be pushed down. So this begins really the beginning of the change and the war.
All right.
The war pretty much begins on Sunday, because those who are not with the collective pulse will be slapped.
Let's go.
Whoa,
team.
what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not an accident that the people who identify as light workers are both watching and one at the moment is most important, or we are all choosing in that moment what our pulse is, and we're constantly checking our pulse the whole time. And we are in that moment through the middle of America and a conscious line of Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, an epicenter of music and creativity, planting
Right.
in that moment on Earth an impulse that we feel is the proper impulse. So we're going to pulse with the impulse as one. If you just watch.
Yeah. That's an amazing week. Yeah.
That's
Excited
good.
for it.
It's a pretty good concert, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
All right. So, guys, if you do want to step up, level up, and join in with what Chris is talking about, his conference,
our
unitethelight.love.
conference. Our conference. Yes, our conference is Unite the Light that Love. There are streaming tickets on there that you can buy, and there will be a donation page here in another day or so because we need your help.
Thank you so much. That was extremely valuable, and I enjoyed it. I know everybody else watching did as well.
I
So,
hope so.
we'll see you next
Hey,
week here.
yes. Yes. I just want to
And
make sure.
yes, and
Yes, and you're right.
more.
Yes, and I'll be in the afterglow. So I have to just make sure the afterglow. I'll probably step away
Oh,
from afterglow. Probably step away from afterglow and let you see it happening behind us, and just do the show live. You guys seeing a little bit of our afterglow. Probably the only thing we'll show the public is afterglow.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll make
Let
sure.
me know. Update me on that.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. We'll see.
All
All right,
right,
buddy.
take care,
Love you,
everybody.
dude. You guys
Love
be
you too,
good.
Chris. Thanks a lot.
Make the right could. Bye.